You're listening to Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum, and Ryan Tejas is in the house.
Yeah.
Right now. He's sitting next to me, across from me.
Across.
Yeah. I hope you guys are enjoying your week. Do you listen to this podcast right when it comes out? Do you wait a few days, a few months? Are you way behind? Are you listening to this now in 2025? I don't know. The point is you're listening to it, and I appreciate your time and taking the time to support this podcast. If you want to support this podcast and you're really liking it, you like this interview, go to patreon.com/insideofyou and become a patron. And it's like a streaming service. If you want to give back, give back. If you don't want to just listen and write reviews, great. But thanks for supporting the show. Go to my Instagram at the Michael Rosenbaum, the link tree, and you can get cameos and see the cons we're doing. We're doing a Smallville con, the first time ever, maybe the only one, October 5th. Ryan's coming. Tom Welling's coming. There's so many people coming. It's going to be so much fun. Also, my fart book, The Talented Farter, is available on pre-order. So grab one while you can. It's great. You're going to love it. It's such a nice tabletop piece, and it's good for kids, good for adults. It's funny. It's a sound book. And grab one and bring it to the con that I see you at, and I'll sign it for you. So there's that. And then Rosie's Puppy Fresh Breath is a product of mine, which is amazing. You just put a cap of this Puppy Fresh Breath in your dog's water, and, your dog's breath is much better. I use it every day, and it's a capful. It's odorless, tasteless, so your dogs don't even know. It's not like they're going to go, ew. It's nice. I drink it. But it's pretty rocking. What else can I say? The Inside of You online store has tons of cool stuff. Lexmas scripts still available, ship keys, and much, much more. I'm going to be selling some scripts for charity. Smallville scripts, old scripts that I have signed by the entire cast.
Cool.
That's everybody. That's Allison, John Schneider, that's Glover, that's Tom, that's everybody. I have some scripts, so I'm gonna sell those for charity. They're just sitting in my office, so why not just sell them for a good cause? And they're real. They're from me.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna, So, all right. I think it's time. to get inside of a good friend of mine who's been on here more times than anyone. That's Stephen Amell. And we really get into stuff. And, I have no problem just firing away on Stephen, and he has no problem firing right back. And I really enjoyed this conversation, and I think you're going to as well. So let's get inside Stephen Amell.
It's my point of view. You're listening to Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum. Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum was not recorded in front of a live studio audience.
Is it the 6th?
Thank you.
Is it really? So you've been on more than anybody.
I think so.
And you haven't been on in a while. It's been a year.
I think it aired early 2023. Is that right?
Maybe.
No.
But the last time we came, it was like, fuck, Heels is canceled.
It hadn't been canceled yet.
But you were feeling it.
I was a little worried about it.
And then it gets canceled.
Yeah, then it got canceled.
And then there was sort of hope. And I thought, I saw some of I think you texted me and maybe you posted about something, but, sometimes you get a little bit like, oh, hey, maybe there's another home for it. But the reality is 99% of the time, no one else buys it.
Correct. And Netflix got it.
Now, did Netflix say, hey, were there like sort of contingencies? Like, hey, we're going to do it, but we're going to make this for half the price?
Well, I know that there's a framework in place to make more of it if everything goes well. But there are a variety of hurdles to jump over, not the least of which would be my availability, Alexander's availability, Mike O'Malley's inclination to write the show.
He wants to do it though, right?
He does want to do it for sure. Pete Siegel, who I heard on the podcast.
Yeah.
He's an EP on it and it is always prominently involved. So I think it would probably come down to his availability as well. And then just the rest of the cast. Although, just kind of based off of the response that I've seen from cast members on social media leading up to it coming out on Netflix, I think that most people are into the idea, or potentially they're just into the idea of it existing on this platform where it's really going to sink or swim. You know, we've thought for a long time that, well, I can't say enough about Stars in terms of, you know, their ability to get behind the show, their ability to put it into production in August of 2020. And this wasn't like a returning show.
It was COVID.
Yeah, this was like something that they really put themselves behind and really went out on a limb to make. But we did really feel like maybe it was the right show on the wrong network in terms of how it fit their audience. So
Right.
Netflix is, if nothing else, a truth teller, because if people like your show, they will watch it on the platform. They will find it, they will watch it, they will consume it. And the numbers are just laid out there because Netflix is now so prolific that they're just like, look at our fucking numbers.
Yeah.
Like, we don't care.
Yeah.
We'll
Like
show you
a couple of their shows pays for all the other shows. It's like,
yeah, sure.
You know,
well,
so
I mean, again, I don't know how their financial model works. And if they did it with us, would we make it for less? Who's to say? But it's an interesting time. If you are a wrestling product on Netflix, they've got a massive documentary series on Vince McMahon that's coming out in a couple of weeks. They just paid $5 billion for Monday Night Raw. So,
Jesus.
you know, there could be some synergy between
$5 billion? Are you sure it's $5 billion?
with a B.
$5 billion
billion.
for Raw.
For Raw.
Jesus.
People will always underestimate the scale, scope, and reach of professional wrestling. Like, and not just people that wouldn't have an inclination to watch it, but people that really fucking should know better at this point, like television executives, studio executives, network executives. They're all constantly like, you'll bring them to WrestleMania at SoFi, or they'll go to WrestleMania this year at Allegiant Stadium, or they'll just go to, you know, a basic event like Raw will come to Crypto or what have you, and they'll walk in, they'll be like, wow, a lot of people like professional wrestling.
Yeah, you know, it's fun. It's funny because I think that goes with anybody. You have to sort of spoon feed it.
Sure.
You always have to spoon feed. It's like wrestling. Oh, what? And then you show them, and then they're like, "Wait a minute, I didn't know about this." Or they're like, "Hey, we like this one guy." Is like, "I don't know who that is." I'm like, "Well, he has 47 million followers on Instagram." They're like, "Oh, I'll take him."
Yeah.
So I get that, but let me ask you this: like, you're doing Suits.
Yeah.
Did you finish filming?
We haven't started.
You haven't even started. All right. So if you're gonna do Heels, and we're gonna get into Suits. Okay. I want to talk to you about like your mental health and all that stuff, because a long time ago,
is that where we're starting?
Yeah, because you had an anxiety attack on the podcast, which went viral, and you know it was really brave of you. But now it's years later, you got a new show, you got this other show pending. You know, you're living life. Did you learn anything from that moment where you had the anxiety attack, and are you doing things differently so it doesn't happen again?
Yes, absolutely. As I spoke about on the podcast, I think that anxiety attack I was in the midst of this transition in my life that I didn't really want to accept. You know, I used to be the guy that would film Arrow until 3:30 in the morning on a Saturday morning, get on a 6 a.m. flight to LA, have a couple of screwdrivers on the flight, get some sleep, and then get back on the Saturday, hang with my family, go out for a nice dinner Saturday night, get up early Sunday morning, especially during football season, like go tailgate, go to a Rams game.
Unbelievable.
You know, having fun all that day, you know, drinks, tailgate, stuff like that. And then go meet people afterwards, get on the 8:50 p.m. flight back to Vancouver.
What?
But then the difference was that at 5:30 the next morning, I would be up, I would get to the gym, I would get on the treadmill, and I would get back on the horse, as the case may be. The problem for me became when I lost the ability to do that, if for no other reason that I'm fucking not 29 years old anymore.
So your body just kind of caught up with your mind.
It was like the chemical makeup of my body changed a little bit, and I lost the ability to then get back up, get to the gym. And so as opposed to getting in and sweating it out, this relatively toxic weekend would live with me. and just kind of sit in my
Yeah.
system.
Yeah.
And that led to if you're not going to get back up and be healthy, then you kind of continue to be unhealthy. And so I would go through these periods where I think that stuff like anxiety would be almost entirely connected to a withdrawal from alcohol.
Wow.
And I'm not talking like delirium, like I'm not talking tremors and sweats and a little bit of sweats.
Yeah.
But I just think that I was on this roller coaster, and it was just a yo-yo of up and down and up and down and up and down. And that becomes really tiresome.
Did you quit drinking entirely?
No, I didn't quit drinking entirely. I go for long stretches where I don't drink at all.
So you could do that.
Yeah.
You can go a month, 2 months.
Month, 2 months, no problem.
Don't even think about it.
I do my best to never touch any hard liquor anymore, but beers, ciders, wine. I make an effort never to really drink around my kids. If we're going to be out on a vacation, I took a vacation a couple of years ago now to the Caribbean for like 3 weeks with my wife and my daughter. Our son wasn't on the scene yet. And I didn't touch alcohol the entire time I was there. Again, just filming. Just now, I was on the far east coast of Canada. I was on Cape Breton Island.
What were you filming?
There's a movie called Little Lorraine.
Little Lorraine.
Looks
artsy and cool. I think I saw that. Weren't you wearing something in some picture you posted? Some jacket? Was it a period piece? Or
yeah? So it's set in the 80s, and it's about a group of coal miners. It's a true story. There's an explosion in the mine, and they get roped into becoming lobster fishermen. At least that's what they're told. But they're out there catching white lobster, which is a slang term for cocaine. So they're out there they get into the drug smuggling business, and of course, as it happens in movies, everything works out swimmingly or not, as the case may be.
So you're doing this out there, and you didn't drink or anything.
No, not a drop.
Is there a temptation to sort of like go, hey, we're going out for drinks, or we're going out for this, or we go have dinner, and you're like, I'll have a beer, I'll have a drink?
No, because I don't like having a drink. That's part of the problem. You'll hear in rehab a lot people say, one's too many and 1,000 isn't enough.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to go out. I don't drink. You know what I mean?
Is it just that your personality, you don't like who you become?
I think that I can't. Sometimes I have an addictive personality. I have a history of alcoholism in my family. So it's a slippery slope, I suggest. So I'd rather just not get on the slope.
Yeah.
I feel significantly better. I eat better. I look better. I act better. It's just, you have to get to a point, to get back to the original sort of impetus for why I'm saying this, is that, there's a season for everything. And my 20s and my 30s are long gone. And I just can't, I can't do it anymore. Like I can't. So you have to reconcile that, put your ego to the side a little bit and do what's going to be best for you personally, professionally, emotionally, physically.
And for your family.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure, Cass, it's changed everything.
Well, sure. I mean, our relationship when there's no alcohol involved is considerably better. We have more fun together. I love nothing more right now than getting a good night's sleep and waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning for an hour by myself before I make my kids breakfast, take my daughter to school. I did school drop off this morning.
So you love this stuff.
I love it. I really love it.
What is it about that?
I love it way more than I could ever love any, mind altering substance.
Yeah. Because it's real. It's visceral.
It's so much. Yeah.
And it's sustainable. It's what you feel.
Yeah. A buddy of mine has been sober now for, 6 or 7 years. I was there when he spent his last couple of days drinking out at our spot in the desert before he knew he was going to check himself into rehab. And the way that he describes it is it's like all of a sudden you sober up and it's like everything's in Technicolor, where before it was kind of black and white. Everything's 3-dimensional, where before it was just 2-dimensional. And I get to appreciate so many more things. And just in general, I feel like, and again, I don't ever want to suggest that I had a crippling problem. I think that it definitely could have went in that direction,
Right.
if I didn't sort myself out. But just you lose the ability if you are kind of constantly like dealing with a little bit of a hangover, or just you're a little bit cobwebby. You lose the ability to feel genuine happiness at moments when you really should feel genuine happiness. Like your son does something new for the first time, or your daughter sets a personal best in her 50-meter freestyle.
And you miss it emotionally.
You're not present. You're not available in the way that you should be as a partner, as a friend, as a father. It's just,
you're not connected.
It's just dulling you.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
And I have no interest in being that. And, forget family for a second. I love going to work after a really good night's sleep, like feeling fresh.
Ready to go.
It alters the way that I perform in the scene. It alters the way that I interact with my coworkers, with the crew, with everybody. It changes the day from being like a slog to like, and how am I going to get through this, to, oh my God, are we already on hour 11?
See, that's inspirational, because people who are listening, if you have a drinking problem, or if you drink, or if you, whatever, even if it's, intermittently, it's like there's all these sciences about, even one drink a day and what it does, it shrinks your brain and there's all these things. But I think the biggest thing is like you miss out, like you said, emotionally.
Yeah.
Because you're irritable, or you're tired, or you're hungover, or you're whatever. So you miss those moments.
Well, I think that you can also think about it like whenever my wife and I go to Europe, or if we're in, one of our favorite places in the world is St. Bart's. And
I've never been there.
Oh, it's wonderful. But it's ostensibly like the south of France. And I bring this up because when you go to Europe, especially like France or Spain, you eat all the bread. Okay.
And you feel fine.
You feel fine.
I did. I just went to Italy. I couldn't believe it.
Right. Because it's not like we went to Mother Wolf last night, and all the bread and all the pasta there, it's all imported from.
So you didn't feel bad
from Italy. So you eat all this stuff and you feel full, but you don't feel bloated. You don't feel any of the ways.
Really?
Yeah. And I bring this up, and the analogy being that, there are times for a glass of wine, in the same way that if you're in Italy, eat all the bread. If you're on vacation, if you're on a date night with your wife, if you're, it's fine. Celebrate a little bit, but view it as a celebration and something that you're doing. The moment that it becomes part of your daily routine, especially as you are no longer, you're 41, not 31, and I'm 43. It's like, okay, it's time to just change behavior.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think there's still things that I do right now that I need to change my behavior. I need to change the way I eat a lot at times. Sure. I feel like every night at 7 when I worked all day, I'm like, I want a pot taffy. It's like a taffy that's pot. And it just mellows me out. But I'm like, maybe I'm a little tired the next day and I don't even realize it, because I'm so maybe in moderation.
Everything in moderation, because there was a long stretch of time where I really enjoyed, those Camino THC gummies, and they're great, but you start off taking one little 5 milligram guy.
Then you're up to 15.
And then the more interesting part is, I remember we went away for vacation, and you wouldn't necessarily travel with those unless you were traveling domestically in the United States. But even then, it's a little bit of a hairy situation, because you never know. And because it's not legal in every state, obviously. But I remember I was traveling, and all of a sudden I didn't have them. And those first couple of nights of sleep weren't totally normal. Like
Right.
they weren't. I think you become if you rely on something that's not water or is kind of mind altering in any way. Then
You want a water, by the way?
No, I'm good. Thank you
I'm
though.
gonna drink some water. How much water do you drink a day?
A lot.
Is it important? Do you really think that drinking water makes you feel better?
Yeah, I do. I just feel like you're kind of lubricating your body, more or less. I finally just got one of those. It's like a 64-ounce Yeti tumbler.
Mm-hmm.
That's enough. I think if you're going past that, it's like okay.
Yeah, what happens is I get one of those. There's these jugs, and it says by this time, by 10 in the morning, you should have drank this much.
Yeah, I have.
And then I find myself looking at it and go, God, I'm 4 hours behind. So I just chug as much water as I can to catch up. Fucking bimbo. Inside of You is brought to you by Shopify. I don't know what I would do without Shopify. With Shopify, I'm able to sell products so easily. It doesn't matter if you have a small business or a growing business or a big business. Shopify is there for your needs. And nobody does selling better than Shopify, home of the #1 checkout on the planet. And the not so secret with Shop Pay that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts going abandoned and way more sales going. Look, I have 2 on Inside of You and for our other podcast, Talkville. And if you want to sell t-shirts or whatever you're selling, it's so easy to navigate with Shopify. You can see where everything is. You could add products. You just add a picture, upload it right there. Boom. Description of your product. How much does it weigh? I bought a little scale. Says how much it is. I put the price down. I put the quantity down. Analytics. I go to analytics. It tells me what's my best-selling product. How much money have I made this month compared to last month? It is so easy. I love Shopify. So if you're growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout we use with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/inside, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/inside to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/inside. Inside of You is brought to you by Rocket Money. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. I don't know how many times I've told you, do this, get this. You need Rocket Money. Everybody needs Rocket Money because all it does is save you money. Ryan uses it. Remember when you had that issue?
I did. I found a subscription that I had been subscribed to for an embarrassingly long amount of time.
And how much money did you waste?
Enough.
Yeah, exactly. And what else did they do at Rocket Money?
They contacted the people and canceled it for me. I just did boom, boom.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing what they do. It's been said that most Americans think they spend about $62 per month on subscriptions, but the real number is closer to $300. And that's a big difference. Even if it's just a couple of subscriptions that fall off your radar, those recurring payments you don't even know about can really add up. And thanks to Rocket Money, I'm no longer losing money, and neither is Ryan because of subscriptions we forgot about.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone should have Rocket Money. It's pretty incredible. Why don't you say...
Rocket Money's dashboard gives you a clear view of your expenses all across your accounts. Easily create a personalized budget with custom categories to help keep your spending on track. See your monthly spending trends in each category to know exactly where your money is going.
Get alerts if bills increase in price, there's unusual spending activity, or if you're close to going over budget.
Rocket Money will even try to negotiate lowering your bills for you, sometimes by up to 20%.
Wow.
They automatically scan your bills to find opportunities to save, then you can ask them to negotiate for you. They'll deal with the customer service.
Come on, guys. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all of the app's features. Stop wasting money on things you don't use. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions by going to rocketmoney.com/inside. That's rocketmoney.com/inside. rocketmoney.com/inside. When Suits came around, it was just an offer. You didn't audition.
No, I auditioned. They auditioned everybody.
You auditioned for Suits.
I did.
How many times?
Just once.
For the director?
It was for the director, the casting director, and then Aaron Korsh, who created the original series, and Dave Bardis, his producing partner. I think Aaron's more on the creative side, and Dave is a gets everything done side.
Right.
At least that's my impression thus far.
Right.
Yeah, the audition was on a Friday.
Now, why? Let me ask you, back up. Why Suits? What was it about Suits that your agent called and you said, yeah, I want to do this? Had you seen the show?
I had never seen the original show.
Right. So what did you do? Did you start watching it?
No, I didn't.
You can't tell me you auditioned for this blindly.
I did.
Why?
Well, because I figured, okay, there are certain things that I would expect to come on offer, but I get it. It's a network show. It's the lead. It's a very, very high profile job. And it turns out that Aaron and Dave always audition people, but my focus actually wasn't on Suits LA. It was 2 auditions came in. One was via Zoom, and this audition for Suits was actually in person, which I remember being incredibly excited about because I don't remember the last time.
Did you memorize all your lines for the audition? You sort of had them loose, but you were looking at your script.
Yeah, I like to have my script with me because I like to be able to read the lines if and when they're giving me notes. So my actual focus that week was on an audition that I had on Wednesday.
Who was that for?
It was for the prequel that they're doing to NCIS. And it was playing the younger version of the titular character. Not the titular character.
You watch NCIS?
No. I know it. I know of it.
But you were testing for that?
No, that was just an audition.
That was an audition.
Well, I think that.
Why? I keep asking why, but what? Like, for instance, why I'm saying why is you come off a huge show, then you get Heels, which is like this this classy kind of niche, cool fucking wrestling show. You could do whatever you want. I just figured not knocking NCIS, but I figured it'd be the last thing you want to do is get on a show that's already kind of doing its thing.
Well, you have to remember that this is January of 2024, and everyone has just sat around with their thumbs up their asses for the past 7 months, which is also something that we can discuss later if we want. But it's fine. It's, I don't, frankly, I don't know. I think it's NCIS Origins. Now, if it had come along as an offer, I don't know that I necessarily would have done it, but I was excited by the prospect of, okay, this is a network show. This is pilot season. This doesn't really happen that much anymore. You hear all the time about the industry changing. It's like back in the day, February 1st would roll around in LA, and there'd be a massive influx of people.
Tons of shows.
You'd be auditioning 6 times a day for all of these networks that were putting out 30 pilots each. And
you have your choice of what to read for.
Sure. And so this came in, and I thought that the audition went extraordinarily well. I got great feedback. I hadn't looked at the sides for Suits LA yet. And then I found out on Thursday afternoon, after getting incredibly, not just good feedback, but good intel, we think this is actually going to move forward. All of a sudden it was dead. And I felt like someone had somewhere along the line had cock blocked me. And
someone said, Stephen Amell, no.
Yeah, sure. Maybe. And so I didn't know what was going on. And I was really frustrated. My wife was away. I was mostly solo with 2 kids. And I just remember getting to Friday, finding out on Thursday afternoon that NCIS wasn't going forward. So I actually sat down with my daughter and we ran the lines for Suits LA. And she thought it was funny.
How old is she?
She's going to be 11 in October.
And she's reading these lines with you.
Yeah. She thought it was hilarious because my character has a line where I say, if he hasn't signed right, I'll cut my left nut off if he hasn't signed right now, or my left ball off.
And she got a kick out of that.
She got a kick out of it because this character then does sign with our agency. And I go, look at that. Left ball lives. And she thought that was the funniest shit she has ever heard. anytime I bring up Suits LA, she still goes,
Left
left
ball.
ball lives, Dad. And I'm like, and I actually,
Oh,
I showed her
man.
the pilot, and that line is actually in there. And she, again, she wanted to stop it, rewind it, look at it again.
I love it.
But I called my wife on the way to the audition. It was all the way on the west side, Friday at like 3:00 in the afternoon. I was actually flying out that night on a red eye to go to Tampa for a wrestling event. And I got a shitty phone call about just like a personal business thing, just stupid, meaningless shit that was just becoming a little frustrating. Combine that with being solo with both kids all week. Combine that with
NCIS
my perceived
rejection.
NCIS flight
Yeah.
slight. And I had a full fucking breakdown in the car.
Really?
Emotional, screaming. There were probably
By yourself,
on the phone with her. She was in Hawaii.
screaming. I don't know what the.
I was really mad. And to the point where when I arrived at the audition, I looked at myself in the mirror. My eyes were all bloodshot. I was
That mad.
I was totally harried. My heart rate was probably 130. And I walked into that audition just with really kind of no fear. Went in,
Wow.
read the audition, tried to be a lot looser and more spontaneous than I think probably a lot of other people were, because this guy's a lawyer. This guy's supposed to be the smartest guy in the room. But, concurrently, I just figured everyone was going to be stone cold serious. So let's just have a little bit of fun. And then I went through the waiting process, which was incredibly stressful.
How long?
Well, so that audition was on a Friday. On the Tuesday, I got the offer, but the offer was conditional on a network test. And I was like, okay, I'm not afraid of that. That's fine. Who am I testing against? And they went, we're looking into that. And
That seems weird.
it was maybe a little strange. And then they come back and they're like, you're not testing against anyone else. It's just you. And it was really difficult for me to wrap my head around the fact that I had an offer, right? But it wasn't coming through. I was in Orlando at this point, getting ready to launch the Code 8 Part 2 press tour at MegaCon in Orlando. And then I'm doing a big fun Disney day with my family. And I'm waiting like, okay, guys, just take the contingency away from the offer. But this whole process, it stretched out until I think like 8 days later. And as it's going on, I start getting random texts from people who I know in the business.
We're saying congrats.
That I have worked with. A couple of people saying congrats, but a couple of people that I've worked with saying, just had a great chat with NBC. And I went, what? You had what? I just, had a great chat with NBC. Just talked about how much we enjoyed working together. And I went, oh my God, are they fucking vetting me?
Of course.
They were vetting me.
Of course.
And try to have a good night's sleep while a
That they
network-
do that with every actor.
Yeah, but then I'm just thinking,
Is he easy to work with?
And I get it, but then I'm thinking, you can have 100 good headlines, but then you get like 3 or 4 bad ones, right? And I'm coming off, I'm feeling like a complete pariah for making some remarks about the strike, and you're just waiting for that one person to go, don't hire him.
Skeletons, yeah.
Yeah, and it never came.
And you never tested again.
No, the contingency was removed from the offer a week and a day after it originally came in. My daughter was in the car with me when I got the call
And at this
from
point,
my agents.
And at this point, you'd already seen the show a few times now. You're like,
At this point, yes. So
and you liked it.
yeah, once I got the offer on the Tuesday, again, I was in Orlando and I was solo for a few days. I first of all, I read the entire pilot script because I only read what my character's supposed to know.
Right.
So I read the entire script. It's got a great hook on the end of the first episode. And Then I watched the pilot of the original, and I called my people and I was like, listen, I know that me saying this isn't going to be helpful, but I really fucking want this now.
Wow.
Because it just seems like, Aaron Korsh writes a very fun, digestible show that
A lot of dialogue.
A lot of dialogue, but when you peel back some layers, it actually has a lot of heart. And I think that that's why the original has resonated with people in such a crazy, seismic way, to the point where with Heels going to Netflix, you literally say, I hope it gets the Suits treatment. Like, it's become a verb.
Yeah. I think also that you seem appealing to me to a network or studio or whatever because of the fact that you carried a show for so long. And now you did this other show, Heels. And we know he could handle dialogue. We know he could be on set all day. We know he stays in shape. There's got to be an appeal there that I'm kind of surprised that even took that long. I'm surprised that he wants to be on the show. Great. I mean, I don't know how many other actors are going, but it seems to me like that's why I was a little shocked when you were saying NCIS, even because I always make the joke NCIS Albuquerque, NCIS or Salem, NCIS Florida. I'm like, fuck, that's
I mean, retrospectively, I got the job that I was supposed to get, and everything works out for everything does work out for a reason. It's I went through this torture process, using that term, all relatively speaking, and then of course I get a text from Aaron Korsh, who got my number, going, I'm so excited. This is going to be great. I knew 15 seconds into your audition that you were Ted Black. And it was like, hey, Aaron, maybe you could have fucking told me that at the time.
Maybe 15 seconds after you could have told me that. Jesus. How many episodes do they do a year?
So we originally thought that it was going to be the pilot plus 10. We weren't picked up until...
So you did the pilot.
We did the pilot. We shot the pilot in Vancouver.
And how do you like it?
I think it's great. It comes across like a great episode of Suits, but it has a little bit of a different feel.
And you like your character.
I like my character. I'm very close to it because I'm sitting there watching the pilot and I'm going, man, Lex Scott James is great, and Josh McDermott's great, and Brian Greenberg's great, and Maggie Grace is great, and Alice Lee is great, and why am I standing like that? Why are my legs so close together? Why is my face doing that? Because I haven't watched myself act without a beard in 12 years. So I'm just like
clean cut.
And I got on the phone with Aaron, and Aaron's like, listen, he goes, I got a question for you. You think everyone else is great? And I go, yeah. He goes, but you're worried about you? And I go, well, and he goes, do you think that if you weren't great, we'd be making more? I'm like, okay, I'm gonna put my trust. I'm gonna put my trust in you and in my wife, who just a couple of different times during the show just looks over at me and goes, sexy, 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 like that. So I think
it's a great thing that you shaved and you're playing a different role. The only problem I have, this is why I would never do a show like Suits.
Okay.
If they offered me, I'd say no. You know why?
Really? Okay.
You know why?
Why?
I'm not wearing a fucking suit every day.
I love it.
I know. I don't.
I love it.
If this show was called Sweats, I'm in. I cannot imagine wearing a suit and tie every episode.
Oh, I love it.
You love it. How many suits? How many suits do you wear in an episode?
Well, I think for the pilot, I had 3 different ones. But man, they tailor these things to within an inch of your life.
So you look perfect.
You look great, except you still have this freedom of movement. The only problem is that we shot the pilot in Vancouver for basically all of April, and then we shot a couple of days right at the beginning of May in Los Angeles. The only problem is then I got back into my off the rack J. Crew suit that I thought I looked great in, and I put it on to go to the Magic Castle, and I turned to Cass, and I'm like, I feel like a buffoon right now. I feel like a vagrant in this thing. And it's just because it doesn't fit nearly.
What's a good suit if I
well.
want to get a suit? What is a suit?
Tom Ford.
Of course.
Yeah, Tom Ford.
Tom Ford. What kind of suit?
Just Tom Ford.
Is it a thin, like a?
Yeah, easygoing, light fabric Tom Ford. Go get it fitted properly.
Like in Beverly Hills?
Yeah.
How much is a suit?
I have no idea.
$5,000.
Probably.
But do you get to keep any of your suits?
No, listen, I'll be able to keep a couple of things, I think. But honestly, you can still you can go to J. Crew and get a suit, that's fine. The key is not the designer. The key is to go and find someone to properly fit it to you. But to go back to answer your question, we shot the pilot. It was going to be the pilot plus 9. That was what we were told.
Right.
And then now it's going to be the pilot plus 12. But, it was picked up on a Friday. And then Aaron called me on a Tuesday. He left a message and he said, I have substantial news. And I did all of the math in my head. And I was like, what could this possibly be? And I thought to myself, what I actually landed on was that they were going to order like 28 episodes and we were going to shoot 2 seasons basically back to back so that they could then, because we air.
That's where your mind goes.
That's where my mind went.
Right.
So I called him up. What's up? And he goes, we are shooting in LA. And I said, don't fucking toy with me. Are you serious?
I mean,
we're shooting in LA.
Life-changing.
Life-changing. Every single aspect of my life.
You wake up with your kids.
The big macro things to the little teeny tiny things.
That's the most important.
Everything has changed. My wife, when I called her up, I said, are you sitting down? She goes, I'm not. And I said, okay, I'm just going to suits and shooting in LA. And she made a sound that I have not heard in 10 years of marriage. You figure you would have heard all the sounds. I hadn't heard all the sounds. She flipped out. Everything's different, man. Everything.
Do you know how much less exhausting it is to just wake up and go to work as opposed to fly somewhere, live somewhere? You have to call your wife every day. You have to do, it's there's a relief, right?
Oh my God. Listen, we were going to make it work. We made it work before.
Right.
It was Vancouver.
Right.
It's Arrow all over again. But now the difference is, our daughter is just finishing up at her first school. She's probably going to be going into the private school system next year. She swims 6 times a week. She loves it. That's where the majority of her friends are. Like, our life is here to the point where with our 2-year-old, we were examining all possibilities, including and up to like, do we need to separate our family? Do I need to bring my son to Vancouver with me full time?
It's a lot.
How is that?
It's a lot, man. It's a lot for someone who just for me, just having dogs and not,
no, but
it's a lot. It's a really great thing. It's like, to be a working actor is incredible and lucky. But to actually get to shoot where you live is a rarity. And a lot of things don't shoot in LA anymore.
It's been 12 years.
Yeah.
12 years.
Because you shot in Atlanta for Heels.
Yep.
For a couple of years, and then you shot Arrow for 8 years.
Vancouver.
And then you shot the movies. They were not in LA.
Toronto, New York, Sydney, Nova Scotia.
And Code 8, you work with your brother.
Cousin.
Yeah. Now, do you get along?
Yeah, we get along great.
Is there ever a time where it's like family shit and you're just like, you don't get along?
No, we have a different process when we're on set. And sometimes it makes it difficult for us to like argue. It's like, are you supposed to argue with a family member?
Right.
Just again, we approach things. We approach things differently. But both of us, I think, have the same work ethic, and both of us care about Code 8 equally. And I mean that trip and that journey has been extraordinary. The second movie, the way that it debuted on Netflix,
it was huge.
The lengths to which Netflix went, Netflix Canada in particular, to give it this amazing premiere, take us on this press tour.
They pay you a lot for the second one?
They paid us okay for the second one.
Because the first one they didn't pay you much.
No, I mean the first. It
was
one
just kind of saying, hey,
we took. I mean, that was our decision. I think we just took scale on the first one. And then the second one, we paid ourselves a little bit more. But I mean, the budget was what the budget was. And whatever we took out of it, we couldn't put on screen. Absolutely. So I think it was more emblematic of our like worth in the marketplace. But I think that if we make another one, then we should
pay ourselves a little more.
We should probably pay ourselves a little bit more.
Let me ask you this. Back to the health thing. Because I look at you and you're like a machine. I mean, you work out all the time, you eat healthy. For people out there who are just trying to get in a healthy routine, who are trying to change their lives, do you take a certain vitamin? Is there something you take in the morning that you notice the results? Do you take something, you take some vitamin E or B or A or C? What is it? Like, I take Athletic Greens and I love it and it's great. I take a glass of that. But is there something you take, something else that, or something you do in your routine that you notice an energy, you're sharper? What is it?
I don't actually take any supplements. I probably should. I should probably find a good multivitamin and start taking that on a regular basis. I've been wearing an Aura ring for the past.
What's that?
It's a, ring that you wear on your finger, and it gives you something called, you get a readiness score, a sleep score, an activity score.
Oh, yeah.
And a resilience score. And
Is it accurate?
Yes, it is. The only problem is that you like it when it's giving you good news. But like, as an example, on a good readiness score is anything kind of above 70. And I went out to dinner with my friend Natalie on Tuesday, and we split a bottle of wine, which was fine. But I then got home and was probably in bed an hour after I wanted to be. And if you have alcohol in the evening, my resting heart rate when I slept was 60 as opposed to 48, which it normally is.
So you wake up a little more tired than you normally.
So you wake up and my readiness score was 44. And I'm like, fuck off. That's not true.
See,
it can't be that.
That's the thing with these things. I had a sleep thing and it says, your sleep was great. I'm like, fuck you.
Yeah.
It was great with 90 and I feel like shit.
Yeah. The only time that I don't like it is I woke up Wednesday morning, I woke up feeling good. And then I checked the app. It's like 43. Don't do much today. Fuck you, Aura. And you're like,
yeah. So you don't really take any vitamins. You just work out and eat a lot.
Eat a lot. I mean, I have protein shakes. I try to add electrolytes into my water. There's a great company called Just Ingredients that we get electrolytes from, protein powder from. I've actually just started putting some like this kind of superfood.
I'm writing this down.
Chocolate mix, and I put some vanilla protein powder in my coffee, which is really good. It gets all frothy and it's good.
How many meals do you have a day? 6?
I usually don't eat before I work out, and then I'll have a shake after I work out, and then I have lunch, and then I'm probably having a snack. I have my dinner, and then when I get into training, this is what my wife makes fun of me all the time.
16 egg whites.
No, I have midnight snacks, which is like I will fall asleep at 10:15, and then sometime between 12:30 and 1:30, I wake up fucking starving if I'm training a bunch, and I go downstairs barely opening my eyes, and I will have left a midnight snack in the fridge, like a wrap.
Are you aware of it?
Oh, sure,
Yeah,
sure.
It's not like sleepwalking.
No. Like a wrap or sushi or pasta. Like I will have a full midnight snack and I come back to bed. The only time that my wife gets mad at me is if I get into like salt and vinegar chips or something like that.
Yeah,
and I come back to bed and she's got a very sensitive
Don't touch
nose.
me. Don't kiss me.
Get away.
Inside of You is brought to you by Lumen. Lumen is one of the world's first handheld metabolic coach. It's a device that can help measure metabolism through your breath. And on the app, it lets you know if it detects if you're burning fat or carbs and gives you tailored guidance to help improve your nutrition, workout, sleep, and even stress management. It's pretty incredible that you can do this on an app, this device that can do this and measure your metabolism through your breath. You just, all you have to do is breathe into your Lumen first thing in the morning, and it will tell you what it sees with your metabolism, whether you're burning mostly fats or carbs.
Then Lumen gives you a personalized nutrition plan for that day based on your measurements.
You know what else, Ryan? You can also breathe into it before and after workout and meals. So Lumen can tell you exactly what's going on in your body in real time, and Lumen will give you tips to keep you on top of your wellness game.
Because your metabolism is at the center of everything your body does, optimal metabolic wellness translates to a bunch of benefits, including easier weight management, improved energy levels, better fitness results, better sleep, etc.
Lumen gives you recommendations to help improve your metabolic wellness. It can also track your cycle as well as the onset of menopause and adjust your recommendations to keep your metabolism in good shape through hormonal shifts so you can keep up your energy and stave off cravings. So, if you want to take the next step to helping improve your health, go to Lumen, Lumen, lumen.me/inside to get 15% off your Lumen. That's lumen.me/inside for 15% off your purchase. Lumen.me/inside.
Thank you, Lumen, for sponsoring today's episode.
These statements and products have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or condition. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. You know that so many of us are using BetterHelp. Ryan here. Ryan?
Yep, I'm using it.
Every week.
Every week.
And it helps you.
Oh, yeah.
It certainly does. I think we have things bottled up all the time that we just need to let go, and talking to someone truly, truly helps. Also, as an adult, do you make it a point to carve out time to learn new things as often as you'd like? Or is the day-to-day life so busy you feel like you'll never recapture that sense of childlike wonder? Kids are always learning and growing, but as adults, sometimes we lose that curiosity. What's something you'd like to learn? Gardening? A new language? Or maybe how to finally beat your best friend in bowling? Therapy can help you reconnect with your sense of wonder because your back-to-school era can come at any age. Therapy is helpful for learning positive coping skills and how to set boundaries. It empowers you to be the best version of yourself. And it isn't just for those who've experienced major trauma. Therapy is for everyone. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. All you do is fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. If you don't like your therapist, you change it. Rediscover your curiosity with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/inside today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/inside. You know what's funny is I look at you and I picture, I know you decently, but I feel like you're someone, you're in the business, but you don't care. As much as you care about the business, you don't get starstruck. You don't do the whole, got to go to this party, got to go to do this. It's sort of like I'm a family guy. I love working. That's it.
I like going to parties if there's a reason to go to a party, but like I just got invited to a bunch of Emmy parties.
Right.
It's like, no, I'm okay. If Suits LA comes out and it's in the Emmy mix, or
then you'll go
100%.
That's what, I always say this, but Denzel Washington said that to me. He said, never go to anyone else's premiere. Never go to you don't need to be there. If you're not part of it, don't go. But
with the exception being that I've taken my daughter to a couple of movie premieres.
Probably like an animated movie or a fun movie like that.
Yeah, we went to Little Mermaid, the live action Little Mermaid. It was amazing.
This is called Shit Talking with Steve and Amell because I want to get into some questions
All
here.
right.
Patreon.com/inside of you. And join the day and support the podcast. You could ask questions. Michael Caine doesn't blank is his name.
Okay.
What surprised you most about wrestling at live events?
Oh, just that in person, you hear individual voices in the crowd.
You do?
Yeah, for sure.
Because I always think that you don't hear that.
No, you hear them for sure.
Like, what do they say?
Well, because a couple of the times I've been doing tag team matches, right? Or even then, or even when I did my singles match in Chicago back in 2018, it'll be quiet.
Loser!
You'll be quiet for a second. Biting off a bit more than you can chew, huh, Mel? And you're like, uh-oh. Or just a guy just going, you can't wrestle. Like that. You're like, oh my God.
Do you ever want to say something or you don't?
Sure, of course I want to say something.
But can't you because you're a wrestler at that point?
You can absolutely say something. You can shit talk back to the crowd as much as you want.
Do you ever shit talk?
I did so the 3 matches that I've done, 2 of them were on a pay-per-view, which is a fucking great way to introduce yourselves as a complete neophyte. Just go to the biggest possible event and
Shit talk.
cut it loose. But I did one event in San Antonio, Texas. That was a big 6-man tag match, and it's not televised. So the match in and of itself was probably 45, 50 minutes. And it's just a lot of fun. You're interacting with the crowd, and they were actually encouraging me after going in the ring and performing a couple of good moves, just to walk back, look at the crowd, look out there, and how the fuck you like me now, guys, that sort of thing.
I love it. Melissa M. And by the way, do you love the energy? Does it pump you up?
It's intoxicating.
It is.
It's why you end up doing stuff that once you've gone back through the curtain, you're like, oh my God, my body hurts so bad.
Jesus. Melissa M., growing up, what was your favorite movie genre?
Well, I immediately think of the original Supermans and the original Batmans.
Did you see behind you the Superman poster signed by Gene Hackman to the second best Lex Luthor, Gene Hackman?
Oh, I didn't see that. That's a pretty good one.
That's a pretty good one.
That's an all-time poster right there.
Oh man,
it really is. But man,
did you like superhero stuff besides Superman? Did you like comic books? Did you like all that stuff?
Not really. That my big thing was wrestling.
Always wrestling.
It was really my big
Who's
thing
your favorite
was
wrestler?
wrestling. At the time, it was probably Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior, those
How about
guys.
Superfly Snuka?
I didn't like him. I liked Jake the Snake
Andre?
a lot. Andre, no, I didn't like Andre.
Because he's bad.
Now I know more about Andre. I like Andre, but at the time, I just knew him as a bad guy. And
Todd Phillips gave me this awesome portrait of him, 2 of them.
oh, really?
Yeah, I've got
Why
2.
does Todd Phillips have Andre?
I don't know. He had all the stuff, and
is that just Joker money?
he just had extra stuff in his office, and my friend works for him, and she's like, "Hey, Todd wants to know if you want these." I'm like, "Fuck yeah,
yeah,
I'll take them. I got to show you those. Those are awesome."
No, but I, also to the think of all the cool 1980s high school ish comedies or movies, I guess, Can't Buy Me Love, or Just One of the Guys. Back to School.
Caddyshack.
Yeah, I love Caddyshack. Ferris Bueller, although I wouldn't call that a high school comedy. Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Adventures in Babysitting. Footloose. Stuff like that.
Yeah, Breakfast Club. Dana S., what is something important that you would tell your younger self? Ooh.
Oh, just be patient. Just be patient and always think before you speak, or at least try to think before
That's really
you speak.
difficult, but it's so important. It's so funny. I'll read stuff where it says people who don't listen and they just chime in all the time, they're usually not the smartest. And I'm like, fuck. Yeah.
Wait a minute. Let me interject here.
Yeah. Flirtatious B says, what do you use for motivation and any tips on how to maintain self-discipline?
For motivation for me, if you're just speaking from a professional standpoint, is just the fact that, I'm about to be on a show that is on a major network, and I'm going to be in millions of homes and on millions of screens, and I would like to look and feel my best. And I think that the absolute fear can be a good motivator.
Absolutely. It's amazing how somebody will say something to me about my appearance, and someone close to me, because it's important. I don't care if anybody else, but they'll say something, and I'll go, yeah, and I'll throw it away, and I'll just whatever, and then it will haunt me, and I'll do whatever I can to look better or be better. Yeah,
I mean,
somebody will say, you actually look good when you dress up. You actually look better, and I'm like, maybe I should start dressing up more. Maybe I should be on suits. Little Lisa, what are 3 things you love about yourself? That's tough because, but you should love something about yourself. I can name 3 things I love about you.
Oh, I've never been asked that question before, so I have to give myself some self-love.
Yeah,
right
man,
here.
you can do it.
I think I'm tenacious.
Okay.
I am stubborn, which I think that is something that you can love about yourself. I mean, it's one thing if you're being stubborn because you don't want to admit that you're wrong. I think you can be stubborn, but also remain self-reflective and honest. So that is,
I'd say smart. I think you're really smart. Do you think you're smart?
Well,
It's hard to say that because you sound cocky.
well, one of the things I love right now is that I really do know that while I am smart, I can recognize when I'm not the smartest guy in the room. So I can recognize when it actually is important as opposed to interjecting.
To listen.
I love working in the, like, for example, if I'm going to have a conversation with Greg Berlanti about television and what you're trying to accomplish to make the viewer feel something, that his answer and what he's going to tell me is smarter than anything that I could ever conceive of.
Mm-hmm.
So just listen.
99 more. Where's your favorite place to chill?
I think my favorite place to chill is out in Palm Springs.
All right. You go to therapy?
I speak with my guy, Dr. Howard, we speak on a weekly basis.
You talk about everything?
We do talk about everything. I think that getting back to what we discussed, originally, is I do very well with a routine. There's something that people talk about in recovery, whatever you might be recovering from, that you want to avoid the halt, right? Are you halt? HALT? Hungry, angry, lonely, tired. Hungry, that tends to push you towards something that might be sort of self-destructive. Hungry isn't an issue for me. Angry, not really an issue for me. Tired, not really an issue for me, but lonely. And by lonely, I kind of mean bored. That's where I run into a problem. So
yeah, you have to be stimulated.
Stimulated, yeah.
Yeah.
So one of the reasons I like talking with him on a weekly basis is because, again, they always say, take things one day at a time, but I can also look at things like a week at a time. Like, what am I up to this week? What am I doing what am I doing for me this week? Because as much as I love getting up and helping with my kids' school and like making them breakfast and hanging out and going to swim practice, I have to have stuff for me. I have to have stuff for my wife and I. Like, we went out for like a kind of a date night last night, although we also met up with a friend for dinner at the end of it. But yeah, it's like kind of like a date night. We got to do stuff for ourselves as well.
Yeah.
So I got to, as long as I have things to look forward to, then I can,
I'm not hungry right now. I'm not angry.
Lonely?
I can feel lonely at times. And tired, yes. So maybe one or two out of them.
Tired's a tough one.
Berlanti, you still talk to him a lot? Has he ever brought up potential Arrow stuff?
No. I mean, I joked about it because, I think that it would be wonderful one of these days to go back and do something that was like in a medium where I could break bones and drop an F-bomb and just sort of go the hard R version of
Arrow,
things.
kind of the
of
Deadpool
Arrow
version of
yeah, sure. Except I don't picture Oliver breaking the fourth wall.
Yeah, maybe not. That's been
you
done.
Imagine
so
him, I actually think I have one moment in the series where I kind of stare directly into the camera saying I am the Green Arrow, but that was me. Yeah, that wasn't.
But so there's nothing out there, but
there's nothing out. But when I bring this up to him, his whole thing is where I'm like, 5, 6, 8 years from now, he's like, I'll be retired, and I'm like, will you be? And
what about a movie?
But if he's sure,
an Arrow movie,
that'd be fun.
A 2-hour movie,
that'd be fun. We tried to do that, but it didn't.
Why didn't it work?
I think that there were some people. To my understanding, it got killed at the studio level from people that I think were making decisions that were fear-based and not.
That's where all the bad decisions come from.
Yeah, fear-based.
Fear-based. And it's all where all the mistakes come as a creator or an actor. When you fear something, you kind of walk back. It's the opposite. It's like face your fears. But with that, it's completely different.
Yeah.
It's amazing how that works. It's like when you fear something, you should really go after it if you want it and
100%.
not let fear get in the way. But also you could let fear get in the way of something. I guess the same thing.
Well, that's one of the things that people, when they ask about Suits, they're like, oh, well, but like, how are you going to like live up to the original, or how are, people are, it's never going to be what the first one was. I'm like, that's a fucking terrible reason not to take a job. Like,
Yeah.
no, it's not. It's going to be different, set in a different place. It's like, there will be people that see our show that have never seen the original that go back and find it. There will be people that love the original that watch ours because they want to go back into that world. And then there will be people that loved the first one that for reasons that past understanding will be like, I'll never watch this one.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Great. Why don't go find something on Apple TV Plus then?
You know what? I'm happy and not disappointed, but no, it's a good thing. But usually you come in here and you either got COVID or there's an incident on a plane, or you got a crazy neighbor, you have an anxiety attack. It seems like everything's just going right now.
Yeah.
You have so many possibilities. You got a show, it shoots in LA, family's good, you got your health. It's like everything's going really well for you.
Well, the biggest thing that I've done for mental health over the past, it's been a little over 13 months right now. I have not been on social media.
And how does that change your life?
August 2nd of last year, I was like, fuck this. This is terrible.
I'm not on it very much. I have a social media person,
Yeah.
but I don't do it a lot.
No, I still do it, but you think of it like it's a one-way mirror, right? I use this one app. It's like called Business Suite or something like that. That I have access to my Instagram page, my Facebook page, but that's all I see. I don't see anything else, and I certainly never, ever, ever see comments.
People always say, "Why don't you respond to my Instagram? Why don't you respond to that?" Because I don't know even how. Like I see I don't know how. Like when you tag someone, where do you see the tags?
Yeah,
I don't know how a lot of that works. I just don't.
First of all, my screen time went down 300% on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
So I can literally, you could probably
focus on other things.
Probably calculate the number of hours that you actually got back. It led to me thinking about times where I'd just be death scrolling on TikTok or Instagram, and my daughter would go, "What are you doing?" And I'd be like, I guess nothing. But I'm certainly not paying attention to you, which is
yeah, exactly
important.
Yeah.
That has just been life-changing because
first
of all, what do you think that I've actually missed out on in terms of like important things? Nothing.
You missed out on nothing.
Nothing. There were a couple of friends of mine.
I like funny stuff.
Yeah, sure. I like fart videos as much as the next guy.
Oh my God.
But there have been like a couple of friends of mine, you'd probably say like more acquaintances, like got married, and obviously I didn't know them well enough to be invited to the wedding, but like I didn't know. And then because I'm not on social media. So I kind of found out, like secondhand, but, you just don't get caught up in stupid
Don't get caught up in
shit.
someone else's life. Never compare yourself. Never go,
no,
this person isn't happy. They're showing you, oh, look, I'm on top of the world. And everybody's got their shit. Don't worry about that stuff.
I also went through my phone and I probably had like 14 or 1,500 contacts in there because they never erase, right?
Yeah.
You've had the same phone since whenever you got your
Did
first
you delete
iPhone.
them all?
So I didn't delete them all, but I took about a week and I went through somewhat painstakingly and took it from like 14 or 1,500 down to like maybe 170.
Wow. That's impressive.
Most
impressive.
If we haven't spoken or if
in 2 years, 3 years.
Yeah, you're out. And I'll tell you the most interesting thing about that was that, so you now know if you get a text message and it's just a random number, it's like, okay, well, I did this in August of 2023. And I'd say over the next, 4 or 5 months, I maybe got 5 or 6 text messages from numbers that weren't in my phone. And then I booked Suits and I must have had 200 messages from numbers that weren't in my phone.
Right. You're like, who the fuck is this? Or just put thanks and don't worry about it.
No, I just delete and report junk.
Yeah.
Bye.
This has been a treat. It's always easy. I had nothing to talk to you about really, but it just was easy.
Yeah.
As always. I appreciate you coming by. I'm so pumped for you.
Thanks, man.
Everything's going well for you. You got to keep this up, man.
Yeah, you just gotta, relax. I think that, the last kind of thing from a professional standpoint was just I was chatting with Aaron Korsh on Monday after the writers' room, and we both talked about how, when he did the original Suits, it was a real meteoric rise for him, and he doesn't think necessarily. I don't want to speak for him, but he was saying, a new season would come around, and I wouldn't. It's not that I would be upset, but I would be kind of dread, like having to go through the process again, like having to create all this stuff. And he said, I made a deal with myself that if I was going to do this again,
You have to enjoy it.
I was going to enjoy it. And I feel very much the same way.
I agree. I think every time you do something, unless, there's different situations, like, people need to work. They need to make, ends. They just
Sure.
have to, they have families. They have all this.
Of course.
But if you have the decision, the power to do something, at least do something that you really want to do.
That's right.
And do something that brings an element of fun.
Yeah.
Something that you like working with people. If you have that choice, then do it.
And I can't believe you said you wouldn't. We're going to cameo you on the show.
I have to wear a suit.
For sure. Yeah, of course you do.
Can I keep my hair?
Yeah.
Okay. Good seeing you.
Good to see you too.
Thank you, Steven. Appreciate it. He always likes to listen to the episode before it airs. So he's like, did I say something stupid? I'm like, yeah, you did. But so did I. Right, Steven?
Look, he's done this.
Yeah, he's
He's
great.
been
He knows what
through
he's
it.
doing. He knows what he's doing. And he was, guy's in such good shape. I don't like when people that are in such good shape sit across from me for an hour.
Yeah, and when his he was wearing some short shorts that day.
And his legs are just so powerful.
Yeah.
Muscular.
Yeah.
Nice tone.
Yeah.
Nice color.
Uh-huh.
Not a lot of hair. Kind of hairless.
Yeah, we're describing them for you because they were not really on camera.
Yeah, they weren't on camera, but really, really nice legs.
Yeah.
Way to go, Steven. Yeah. Well, look, I think it's time to go to our top tier patrons, who are the structure, not the structure, the what's the word, the legs of this table. They're the foundation of this enterprise. Without them, this show wouldn't exist. So if you like this show, please keep giving back and join Patreon, patreon.com/Insidey. And just let you know, I don't normally do this, but top tier patrons, we're going to introduce something soon. So I'll wait to do that. But I think it's going to be another tier. Not a tier, but we're adding to it. But right now, top tiers get your name shouted at every episode. You get a box from me every couple of months. You get a letter from me. I do the YouTube, so we have a little gathering. I'm going to do a Zoom with you guys. Much more. I'd love to do another meetup with all the patrons. It's the least we could do. And I love you guys, and thank you so much for the support. Here are the top tiers: patreon.com/Insidey. Nancy D, Leanne Kristin, Little Lisa, Yukiko, Jill E, Brian H, Niko P, Rob L, Jason W, Sophie M, Raj C, Jennifer N, Stacey L, Janelle B, Mike.
Eldanzsupremo, 99 more. Santiago M, Leanne P, Maddie S, Kendrick F, Belinda N, Dave H,
Dave Hull,
Brad D, Ray H, Tabitha T, Tom N, Talia M, Betsy D, Rhiannon C, Corey K, Div Nexon, Michelle A,
Jeremy C, Mr. M, Eugene and Leah, The Salty Ham, LS, Eric H, Oracle, Amanda R, William K, Kevin E, Jor-El, Jammin J, and Leanne J.
Luna R, Mike F, Jules M, Jessica B, Kaylee J, Charlene A, Marion Louise L, Romeo the band.
Yeah. How about we do it as trailer voices, like for movies?
Okay.
Introducing Frank B, Jen T, Nikki L, April RM, Randy S, Rachel D, Jen, Carolina Girl,
Nick W. I can't. Stephanie and Evan, I'll do for a comedy. Charlene A, Don G, Jenny B 76, Jennifer R, Tina E, NG, Tracy Keith B,
Heather and Greg, Ellie K, Elizabeth L, Ben B Jammin N, Ben B Jammin, Pierre C, Sultan, Ingrid C, Brandon C, and Ronit L.
in the octagon.
In the octagon with Hulk Hogan. We love you guys. Thank you for all the support and love from the Hollywood Hills in Hollywood, California. I'm Michael Rosenbaum.
I'm Brian Taylor's brother.
Yeah, brother. We love you. And always, please be good to yourself. We'll see you next week.